Right here, we're going to look at plotting a few points now. Question one on the test is a bit different. I know question one on the test has you identifying points that have already been placed. Just to practice that really quickly, if I had a point right here, and we got points A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I'll just call this point I. And what you will do to identify that is you'll come out on your x-axis. So you always go left and right first, and then you go up and down for your y. So left, we went over, well, see, that's between -2 and -3. This location between -2 and -3 is -2.5. So -2.5, and you go up 5 units. And now on the test, this is many parts. What I would do if I were you, I would write these down, A, B, C, D, in my blue book, and then type it in so that you're not scrolling up and down, like finding your point, and then scrolling and finding where to type it in and all that kind of stuff. I'd write them down in my blue book, and then I would type them in. But we said that this point I is located at, again, -2.5 up 5. And now looking at the rest of the points, it had located over here which points it wanted me to find. And I just went ahead and plotted them for us. So A was 5, 3. My x value being 5, I wanted to move out to the right 5 units and up 3 units. So again, the x value is left and right. The y value is up and down. For B, we would go left 6 units, up 5 units. So that's how I ended up right here. For C, we just went out left 6 units, and the 0 meant that we didn't move up and down. For our y value, -2, -5 meant I needed to move to the left 2 units, and -5 meant that I needed to go down 5 units. 3, -1, out to the right 3 units, down 1, -3, -7, to the left 3, down 7, and 8, 2 was to the right 8. I said 8, 2, but it's 8, -2 to the right 8, and down 2 units. On this problem, we're just labeling the points, and what I would do, starting with point G, is you don't move left and right, you just go down. So when I don't move left and right, I'm just going to write it beside the point. Whenever I don't move left and right, that is a 0 for our x value. And our y value, we went down. And that point right here is between -4 and -5. So I'm going to call that -4.5. And I will tell you this, on your test, don't forget to put this in parentheses. I think some people missed it because of that. Now, we did G, let's do H. Again, we're not moving left and right for this problem, or for this point rather. We're just going up. So when we don't move left and right, again, our x value is 0. And we went just up 1 unit, so 1 is our y value. I would be next. It looks like we go over to the left, and we go over, it's between -1 and -2. So for our x value, that would be -1.5. For our y value, we go up 5 units. J, it does not, we go left and right first. So we go to the left, -3, and up and down, we do not move up and down. So we're going to call that 0 for our y value. K, we move left 4 units, so -4, and we go down 1 unit, and so we'll call that -1. And left and right, we go right to the right side 4 units, and we go up 3 units. We were filling in an XY chart, and there's going to be 6 parts to this. So what I end up doing, I end up writing x plus y equals 6 down 6 separate times because of the 6 parts. It's almost like it's 6 different problems. But right here, we have 0 that we're plugging in for x, and that's not going to be too bad. We just are going to say 0 plus y equals 6, and 0 plus y, that's just y. Y equals 6 is our first point. That really forms an ordered pair. And x plus y equals 6 again. But this time we're plugging in 4, and it's going to be our y value. So it's going to be right there as I go to write it down. So right now, y, I'm going to write down 4. And now we're in a position that we can solve for the variable that we are looking for. So to get x by itself, I am just going to subtract 4 from both sides. And we get that x equals 2. That's the point 2, 4. Right here, we're plugging in 3, 4x. And I want to get this y by itself. So get rid of the 3, subtract it from both sides. That's the point 3, 3. And now we're plugging 2 in for our y value. And that's going to allow me to solve for x. So 0.42. And I misspoke a little bit earlier. I said there are 6 parts. There are 6 parts to this, but parts 5 and 6 don't want you to find another ordered pair. I want you to plot all the points that we found and then draw the line. Part 5, we're just plotting the points. So we have 0, 6, 2, 4, 3, 3, and 4, 2. And it's got a separate part here for me to for part 6 to draw the line connecting these points. We have another XY chart that we're going to do, except this time it doesn't want us to plot the points you can see that I've already written down my y equals negative 2x plus 3. I've already written down my equation to 3 times because I'm going to use it 3 times. And like I've said, it's like a 3-part problem. Except maybe I do it 5 times. I'm looking at part 1. Sorry. Anyway, I guess I'll find out when I turn the page. But y equals 2x plus 3. The very first thing I'm going to do is plug in, for this first step, plug in this this 0 right here for x. So that will be y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 3. And, well, negative 2 times 0 is just 0 plus 3, and 0 plus 3 is 3. That's the 0.03. On the next one, I'm plugging in for y this time, and it's going to be negative 5 that I'm plugging in. Now, when we were learning how to solve equations, I told you I always put the variable on the left. Well, that's, I guess, what I'm teaching it. Right here, it's much more efficient to leave that variable on the right side, and we're just going to subtract 3 from both sides and get negative 8 equals negative 2x. We can divide both sides by negative 2 and get that x equals 4. And right here, we're going to plug in 1 for our x value, and that will be negative 2 times 1 plus 3. So we get 1 for our y value. And again, these are all coordinates. 1, 1, 4, negative 5, and the first one is 0, 3. I guess it did want you to, for parts 1 and 5, to graph it. I said that it didn't, but it does. And part 4 is to plot the points, but they've already got the points plotted for me on part 5. It won't be that way on your test. It's going to actually make you plot the points before you can see any. But those points were 0, 3, 1, 1, and 4, negative 5. And then you'll just draw the line to connect the dots. This question is just asking us to use x and y intercepts to graph the line. This first part is asking us to find the y-intercept, is asking us to find the x-intercept. And to find the x-intercept, you want to plug 0 in for your y value, and that's exactly what I've done right here. The equation was 3x plus 4y equals 8. So instead of having y, I just put 0 in its place right here. So 3x plus 4 times 0 equals 8. 4 times 0 is just 0. It goes away. So you have 3x equals 8, and then you're going to divide both sides by 3, and that is going to give you the point 8 over, the x value of 8 over 3, so that your point is 8 over 3, 0 for your x-intercept. For part 2, we're going to find the y-intercept. So we're going to do the exact opposite thing. We're going to plug 0 in as our x value. So when we do that, we're literally putting 0 in the place of x, and you'll just have 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 8. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. It goes away, so you're left with that 4y equals 8 right there. And to get the y by itself, you just want to divide both sides by 4 to get 2. So that gives you the point 0, 2. So that x-intercept, plotting at 8 over 3, 0, it seems like it can be tricky, but there's a button in Alex. The button looks something like this that lets you type that coordinate in. So just type that fraction in, and it'll plot the point for you. And then the next point of 0, 2 for our y-intercept, 0, 2, that means don't move left and right, but go up 2 units. And it's a y-intercept because it crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, and this is our line. If you look at the equation of this line, you just have an x variable. Whenever you have one variable, it means the line's either going to be horizontal or vertical. So when it's just an x variable, it is going through the x-axis at the location of 3. So this is a vertical line. It doesn't ask this on this question. It does ask about the x and y intercepts, but it doesn't ask about the slope. If you're ever asked about the slope of a vertical line, it has an undefined slope. And then x and y intercepts. A y-intercept is where you cross the y-axis. Well, this vertical line never crosses the y-axis, so it has no y-intercept, but it does have an x-intercept at that point of 3, 0. On this example, we just have a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. And it doesn't ask you for the equation of the line, but on the last question, I told you for a line to have a slant, it has to have 2 variables. So when it doesn't have a slant, so like either a vertical line or a horizontal line, it just is going to have 1 variable in the equation. This one is y equals, and the number, we'll just call that 3/4, negative 3/4. But when it's just a horizontal line, the equation is just y equals a number. On the last 2, we had lines that didn't have any slant. Well, now on number 8 and number 9, these lines both have slant, and it's asking for slope. Now, I will tell you this, if it were just asking for positive or negative, you could refer to what I call slope mountain and reading it from left to right. From left to right, if you increase, then it's a positive line. If you decrease from left to right, as you go left and right, this decreases, then it's a negative line. So on number 8, I know that that slope is going to be positive because it's a positive line. On number 9, I know it's going to be negative, but let's take a closer look and determine what we think it could be. What you need to do when you have it visually represented for you is you need to count from these crosshatches. See, slope is rise over run. So if you're going to rise over run, you need to start at a low point. So we'll just say this crosshatch right here, and it doesn't matter where your next one is. You could use this location, or right here we have one. Don't make it too hard on yourself. Just count to the closest one. So you start from the bottommost point and you rise. So going up, that's like positive, and I said, I wrote down 3 at first, so positive 2, and we run 1 to the right, and when you run to the right, that's the positive direction as well. 2 over 1 simplifies to 2. The slope for this line is 2. On this next line, look at your crosshatch. We cross right there, and we cross right here. This is a negative line, but let's talk about why. Because when you rise 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and when you rise, that's thinking of like being positive, but we run to the left. And when you run to the left, that's the negative direction, and that's why your slope simplifies to a negative slope. So this is in y equals form, and which, I mean, slope-intercept or y equals form is y equals mx plus b, where b is your y-intercept, and m is your slope. Your slope is paired with the x. So in this case, negative 2 is the slope. And we don't see a b value, so that's like saying plus 0. So that means that we cross the y-axis at 0, 0. So the line that we choose needs to go through this point. And so far, only A and D do this. Now from here, we can use the slope, and it's a negative slope. Okay, and negative slopes from left to right, as you go left to right, negative slopes fall. So D is our answer. This one is, I mean, similar to the last one, in that I'm going to refer to slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. So 3y equals 2x. Let me get that in y equals 4. I want y by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. That's y equals 2/3 x. So the slope is 2/3, and there is no y-intercept. Now this is what you're going to type in for the equation. You'll type that in right here. But as far as being in the form, think of that y-intercept as being 0. And now with a slope of 2, I can rise 2 units from the intercept and run 3 units. And there's my line. This is asking us to compare the two equations for these lines. We'll compare the graph, and it doesn't ask you to graph, but I feel like I need to represent the graph so that you can see. But the slope is 3 for both of them. It's the y-intercept that's different. The y-intercept for one of the lines is -1. The y-intercept for the other line is -1.01. We'll just say that that's right below. Okay, now it's actually closer to -1 than what I'm actually putting it, but it is right below it. And from that point, you just need to go up 3 and over 1 for both of them. And so these lines here, now they're not perfect, I'm sorry, but they're not the same line. For them to be the same line, they had to be on top of each other. They're very similar. They're very close to the same location. They are parallel to one another. They have the same slope, but they're not the same line. Anyway, so this one just want to say the lines are parallel. They're just not quite the same. And then for the next one, the graph defined by the line -0.003x minus 2. Is it horizontal? Is it close to being horizontal? Or is the line vertical, not horizontal? Well, if it were vertical or horizontal, like a vertical line is going to just say x equals a number. A horizontal line is going to say y equals a number. But anytime you have both a y and an x in an equation, it's going to have some slant to it. Now this slant is almost 0. So yeah, it's close to being horizontal, but it is definitely not horizontal, and it is not vertical. Right here on number 14, we're asked to find the slope between 2 points, and we're going to use this formula over here of y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And those subscripts, they're just referring to, this is our first x value, our first y value, our second x value, and our second y value. Anyway, signs tend to be an issue for a lot of people with the slope. So what I do to help maybe prevent those errors is I draw a template, and then I start plugging my numbers in. So our second y value is -5. That's going to go first, and our first y value is -4. That's going to go here. And our second x value is -6. I'm going to go right here. Our first x value is -8. And because of my templates and my parentheses, I can clearly see that I have minus and negative for both of these right here, which ends up being like, when you have minus and negative, it's pretty much like saying plus. So -5 plus 4 is 1, or excuse me, -1, and -6 plus 8 is 2. So -1/2 is our slope. And right here at the end, I'm going to put this, it's asking for the slope. I'm going to put this in y equals form to get the slope. Because if it's in y equals mx plus b form, then the m is the slope. So 6x plus 7y equals -9. I want y by itself. And to get y by itself, 7y needs to be by itself. It's not. So subtract 6x from both sides. And now divide everything by 7. So y equals -6/7x minus 9/7. And I made up a question because we have a question like this on the test. And I said I made it up. I haven't given you 2 points yet. So let's use the points -2, 9, and 6, 4 as our points. And we're going to answer this two-part question. I've even kind of, it looks silly, I've even given us 2 answer boxes to put them in. It'll maybe make sense why in a second. But for the first part, use the slope formula to find the slope. Well, y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So our second x value, excuse me, our second y value is, and remember the template if you need it, but our second y value is 4. Our first y value is 9. Our second x value is 6. Our first x value is -2. So 4 minus 9 is -5. 6 minus a -2, that's like saying 6 plus 2. So that is 8. -5/8 is our slope. And we are able to put that in for our answer right here. And for the second part, it wants us to write the equation of the line. The equation of the line is, okay, well, I'm kind of, am I ready? Like, if the equation of a line has to be in y equals mx plus b form, well, I know that the slope m is -5/8 and x and plus b. Oh, there's the issue, right? I don't know. I'm not ready to click submit on this question because I don't know what b is. So let's go off to down here and find what b is. So I'm going to take what I've written in this box right here. I'm going to write it back down, and I'm going to solve for b. How in the world am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to take one of my points. It doesn't matter which. I usually take the first. So on my first point, the y value is 9. So I am to solve for b, you got to replace these y and x values. The x value is -2. So how do you solve for b? Well, the first thing I want to do is multiply -5/8 times -2. That gives you 10/8. I know that can be simplified, but I'm not ready yet. To get b by itself, basically subtract 10/8 from both sides. In the calculator, you can type this in like, just say 9, and then minus, open parentheses, and say 10, the ABC key, that gives you the backwards L, 10/8, 9 minus 10/8, and press equals, and you get 7 and 3/4 in the calculator. You can leave that in the calculator and then just press second and that same ABC key that we used to get this symbol. The key looks like this, A, B, C. But if you press second and then the ABC key, it changes that mixed number into an improper fraction. Or you could do it by hand. 7 times 4 is 28. And then you could say 28 plus 3 is 31/4. So 31/4 is what I get for whenever I say, 9 minus 10/8. 31/4 equals B. So to solve for B, I took, what I thought was my equation, and it is. But I plugged in an x value from a point and a y value from that same point, and I solved for B. And so now my answer, I don't have to just put y equals -mx plus b. I know that the slope is -5/8. So y equals -5/8 x plus b. And now I know what b is. B is, sorry, except I forgot, 31/4. Let's see if the eraser will work. Absolutely not. It makes me mad. 31/4. So I'm just going to scratch it out. Sorry. And put 31/4.